Okay, both sides. So we'll speak today about the inyan of Simcha and Lag Baimer. We'll talk about the sources in halacha more, not so much Sifrei Hasidus, more in halacha. What is the makaris for the Simcha Lag Baimer, and then we'll see halacha lemaisa. How does it apply to us? So the Gemara in Yevamis, everyone knows. Samud Aleph, that 12,000 תלמידים, זוגי תלמידים היו לרבי עקיבא, כולם מתו בפרק אחד, תלמידי רבי עקיבא died in a certain זמן, מפני שלא ינהגו כבוד זה בזה, והיה העולם שומם, עד שבא, this is important, this is Gemara for the few nekudas for soon we'll see, עד שבא רבי עקיבא אצל רבי סיינו שבדרום, ושנו להם, and after רבי עקיבא lost all his תלמידים, he went to Rabbi Seynu Shebadaram, Vishnalem, and he reestablished the Torah with teaching 5 new Talmidim. Talmidim Rav Meir, Rav Yehuda, Rav Yosi, Rav Shimon, Rav Loza ben Shemua. These are the 5 Talmidim that Rabbi Akiva taught them again after all his 24,000 Talmidim were niftar. Vehem hem emidu Torah oisa shah. That's what the Gemara says, and the Gemara continues. Tana kula meisu mi Pesach v'ad atzeres. That's the Gemara, and because now the Gemara doesn't say, obviously, tremendous tzar to Klal Yisrael that so many talmidim that were niftar. The Torah was weakened kiviyachal. The Gemara, however, doesn't say that because of that we are noeg avelus. But we all know in Shulchan Aruch says that noegim avelus and Yemei HaSfira. So what is the source for that? The Tur and Siman Tov Tzad Gimel brings down from the Geoinim already that they started this minhag of minhag Yemei Avelus on the Yemei HaSfira because of Talmidei Rabbi Akiva were niftar on these days. And the Tur says that the minhag included Shelo Lisa Isha ben Pesach La'atzeres. Brings some Yitzchak Gias from the Geoinim that he says Nisuim is also maybe Erusin is mutar, and then the Torah continues Kazeh Hoyru HaGeoinim V'yesh Mekoymes Shenago Shelo Listaper V'yesh Mistaper Milag Ba'imah Va'elach She'oimrem Shaz Pasku Mi Lamus. It is the Lashon HaTorah. Meiri also in Yevamis says Kabbalah B'yad HaGeoinim שביום למד ג' פסקו המיסה, ומתוך כך נוהגים שלא להסענוס בוי. So we have מקורס נבישיינים, ימי אבלוס, till lag ba'imah pasku milamus, and because of that, there is no more minhage avelus from then on. Meiri is moisif, that also because pasku milamus, you shouldn't be misane on the day of lag ba'imah. Sounds like shtikl sayom simcha, because pasku milamus, memele, don't be misane. So, besides his Ma'arichadat, he brings down a little different nusach from the Abu Dram, and he says that Shloshim Yomim Shleimim is the Zman of Avelus. Umegalchim b'yom lamedaled b'boiker kimiksas hayom kekuloi. This is the lashon of the Abu Dram. Based on that, the Shulchan Aruch paskins that noagim minhag Avelus till lamed daled ba'omer, and lamed daled you have she'oimrim she'az pasku milamus. The Shulchan Aruch says that the Talmidim stopped dying when on Lamed Dalet. And Lamed Dalet was supposed to be a Yom Avelus, but mixed Hasayim Kikuloi. So in Yom Lamed Dalet, you're already able to be mistaper b'boiker not balayla because of mixed Hasayim Kikuloi. That's the Shulchan Aruch goes Siman Tov Tzad Gimel Seif base. That's the Shulchan Aruch. The Ramah says Hagam b'medinas elu ein noyagim kidvarav el mistaper b'yom Lamed Gimel, because he goes with the Torah and the other Rishonim that Pasku Milamus was on Lamed Gimel. Since Pasku Milamus is Lamed Gimel, so you have mixed Hasayim Kikulai. In other words, Yom Lamed Gimel is supposed to be also Yom Avelus, but mixed Hasayim Kikulai. So therefore, you started the day with Avelus, and then you could be Megaleach on the Yom of Lag Ba'omer. That is the Shita of the Ramah. Now the Ramah is Maisif. But that's partial. Everybody knows machlekes. Now the Ramah is Maisif like this. The Ramah says that the lashon Ramah is ובמדינת ישראל אין נוהג בגדול, אלא מסתבר ביום למד ג', then he adds like this, ומרבים בוי קצת שמחה, ואין עומר בתחנה. So Ramah is saying two things. On Lag BaOmer, there is a riboy simcha, and also we don't say tachna. Because it's a riboy simcha, we don't say tachna. How does marbim ktsas b'simcha? It doesn't tell us out how exactly marbim simcha, but should be have the ktsas b'simcha, and how he applies the lamais is there's no tachna. The Meir already told us there's no tainis on Lag BaOmer, right? So he says it's no tachna. So this is the machlokes Shulchan Aruch and Ramah. One is pasuk milamus, but the chayra, I don't know if they're going to argue in this nekuda. Maybe yeah. Wherever it's pasuk milamus, that's when the chayra the simcha is gonna take place. Maybe if the Ramah that says that pasuk milamus was alamed gimel, so then the mixed simcha is alamed gimel. Shulchan Aruch says pasuk milamus alamed dalet. So the mixed simcha will be alamed dalet. Alamed gimel will be a regular day according to the Shulchan Aruch. That's the chayra should come out.
It would be also to go to all the.
Yeah, we'll get there. Now, right, another nikuda, yeah. So now like this, we have to know what now. The Ramah says noagim b'ktsas simcha, but he didn't tell us why. He didn't tell us why noagim b'ktsas simcha. We're assuming it has to do with the Talmidim of Mekiva pasuk milamus. But let's see what do we have in the sources of the on this minhag Ramah that says that noagim b'ktsas simcha. So the guy and the Presbyterian tells us, you look at the end of Maseches Tainis. What is it saying? It says, Ein Sof Tainis. Let's say Sof Tainis there, it says that Tu B'Av is a Yom Simcha. There's a few different reasons I Gemara. One of the reasons I Gemara is Pasku may say Mitbar Milamus boy. Well, we all know that every year on Tisha B'Av, they went in to the graves, they went to sleep, and some people woke up in the morning, some people didn't. And the car was just in the morning. And some people got up, some people didn't. And the last year, the 40th year, everybody got up in the morning. So they thought maybe they got the cheshbon wrong, so they went to sleep every night like that till it was the full moon, Tu B'Av, and they knew the Tisha B'Av was not here anymore. And we made a day, had made a Yom Simcha. So the guy is medameh to that you see that the pasuk milamus is mechayev simcha. So that's pshat in the Ramah. Since the Lag BaOmer is the day of pasuk milamus, it's mechayev simcha. That's what the Ramah says. It makes a simcha. We don't say tachnun, and we make it into a yom shehu ktsas simcha. Mele is no avelus, and that long is no avelus is also a mixed simcha. It's an extra thing. You know, when a avel stops the avelus, usually it's not a yom simcha, right? It wasn't. He's done his avelus and done. Okay, but it doesn't mean that he has to be a positive simcha. Over here's the chiddush is pasuk milamus for dan the avelus. Plus we have a extra mechayev of simcha because the klal pasuk milamus the tzibur pasuk milamus is a simcha for klal Yisrael. Okay, this is one reason. The other reason. What is Yom Simcha? So yeah, maybe I'm Yom Simcha. Maybe by tzaddikim some call. Okay, that's another good. Like this. In the what else do we find the sources of Simcha? And there's two places in it. The Magen Avraham brings look at the Shah Kavanis. The Magen Avraham look at Shah Kavanis. What he says about Lag BaOmer. What is there over there? Two places in Shah Kavanis that talks about it. In the Inyan Sfira Soimer. One place he says like this. He says that he talks about the whole Inyan of Talmidei Rabbi Akiva. What's Tafka? What's Talmidei Rabbi Akiva? We know Loinagu covered it. So the Shah Kavana says that Talmidei Rabbi Akiva were from Midas Gevura. That's why they were Kanteranim. They were fighting with each other, and obviously on their level. In Yemei HaOmer, it says it's also Yemei Din, Yemei Gvuras. He says Za'amatza Minas Minoi v'nifteru kulam. That's why nifter kulam on the days of Sfira because Din found Din. So that's what he says. He said like this. What happened on the Lag BaOmer? He said like this that and you know, according to all the shemis, he goes through there. He says that the zman of his chalfus from Din to Rachmim, according to all the spheres, so we count sphere summer every day. The zman that is starting to change is in Yom Lag BaOmer. Ayin Sham goes to the whole cheshbon. Why dafka the day of Lag BaOmer? That's mischalef the midas adin to midas Rachmim, and that's why pasuk milamus. Agav you've seen the Shak Avanis learns like the Ramon, you learn that the Pasuk Milamus was on Lamed Gimel. It says Pasuk Milamus was on Lamed Gimel. It says because of that day, it turned to Chesed, to Rachamim, we made a Pasuk Milamus in that day. Okay, that's one thing he says. The Az Boy Bayoim, Samach Rabakiva is Chameshes Talmidav, Asher Gadlu v'asu Peres v'hir b'Torah ba'olam, ולכן נקרא יום ל"ג בעומר יום שמחתו של רשב"י, שבו ביום נסמך על ידי רבי עקיבא. In other words, right, the reason the Yom Lag BaOmer is a Yom Simcha is because there's a smicha of Chameshes HaTalmidim. Now, there's 5 Talmidim Nismach, not Dafka B'Shem Bar Yochai. He's not the only one who was Nismach, but it was also his Yom Simcha. And this source, this is what the Shak Havana says, the Pri Chadash, in there in Tav Tzadik Gimel, he is mechaven midaita this word. He said without all the Kabbalah around it, but he just says that it cannot be that the simcha is pasku milamus. Doesn't go with the going. So it came to pasku milamus because he says that it's not simcha because there was nobody left. It's pasku milamus. All of them died. So what are you happy about? There's nobody else to hear that's supposed to die and they didn't die. Yeah, but it sounds like they came after. It sounds like it was there. Yeah, they were not from Shabbat, right? Sounds like it wasn't part of the thing. So he says, what's a simcha? Dr. Pri Chadash must be that the simcha is that the simcha is that there was a hemshech hatayra of the smichas chameshes talmidim that were left, and the Chida also says. The Chida in one of his farms say for Tov Ayin Siman Yud Ches says the same thing that smichas talmidim is the simcha. Yeah, based on that, the Ikar simcha is nothing to do specifically with the Shem Bar Yochai. It's more from all the Chameshes talmidim of Nismach. I found in he had the sefer from Yaakov Hillel called Ed Hagal Hazeh, and there he brings down from the sefer that I don't know if it's in print, but sefer Ben Ish Chai has a sefer called Hilul Rabbah, and sefer Hilul Rabbah says that in Yom Lag BaOmer, the minhag was Yoshvei Tveria Yelchu leRabbi Meir Baal HaNes on Yom Lag BaOmer. Listen to this. Why? Ki hu gam me'chamesh talmidim. He's from the chamesh talmidim. So B'Shem Bar Yochai, Meir Baal HaNes. Right? He's one of the 5. So we'll go to Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes. And not only that, he also went to Rabbi Akiva, Rabbam. It's Yom Simcha by him also. He's the Rebbe that has a Mamshich the Torah. Yoshvei Tzfas, HaChoyzer Mimiron Lebeisam B'Tzfas. They come back to Tzfas. You can't say B'Chazar somewhere. Tell Rabbi Yehuda Bar Eloi. You know, Rabbi Yehuda Bar Eloi I wasn't in Earth for a long time. You gotta go back already. So Rabbi Yehuda Bar Eloi is in between Tver and Tzfas. So he says when they back from Miron, from Miron to Tzfas, he stopped by Rabbi Yehuda Bar Eloi, שהוא גם כן מתלמידי רבי עקיבא, ויש לו חלק בהארס השם ובשמחה ביום זה. So you see that the simcha was on mitzad that there's a hemshech hatayra, but that was a simcha. And okay, so that's that. Number 3 is what the Olam today says, and what the Olam knows. But everybody thinks this is what Lag BaOmer is about, but the sources for this are very weak sources. But the Yom Simcha of Lag BaOmer is that it's a Yom Ptira of Shem Bar Yochai. And what happened is Yom Ptira, look in the either Rabbah and the Yom Ptira of Shem Bar Yochai was Megal Soidus Nairais and the Soidus HaTorah. And it was a big simcha in the Welt that these Soidus were Nisgala b'Yom Ptirasa, and therefore they made the Yom Ptirasa into a Yom Simcha. On that, there is a big machlokes if that's true or not. We don't have any sources that Lag BaOmer was the day of the Ptira of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. There is a Chida, he says, different time he says different places, different things. One time he says that Lag BaOmer was Yom Hilula the Rashbi, and in a different sefer he says that there's no source for that. And the Magim on the bottom say that the last sefer that he wrote that there's no source for that. Okay. Oh, the Maisa, yeah? Oh, very good. So they have a right. The people, the Olam that says that there was a Yom Ptira the Rashbi, they have a right from a different Shar Kavanas that says like this. Like says like that. I have the Lashon over here on this sefer. Then he brings on the Maisa was like this, that Chaim Vital writes in Shagman is Pesach Drush Yud Beis. Says Inyan Aminak Shnagu Lalois Laleches B'Yom Lag B'Yom Al Kiver Reb Shimon Bar Yochai Abelazar. He says that he says, yeah, I saw the Arizal. I saw him doing it by himself. He went to Miron on the Lag B'Yom. Good. And then he says that somebody else, Rabbi Yonasan Sagis, was meidli that before I came to learn the Arizal, he went with his son. עם כל אנשי ביתו, ושם גילחוס ראשו, מגלח ראשו, כמנהג הידוע, ימי דיום משתה ושמחה. And Lag Baimer with his son in the Kever Rashbi. Okay, then comes this. Gam, either ben Avram Alevi, Avram Alevi was one of the Talmidei Arizal. There's a whole story about him. I don't have time to talk about it, but he was this Kol Yom of his Mekoyin and Chumar Beis Hamikdash, mamish on a very high level. The Arizal said that he has Shorosh Neshama from Yirmiyahu, and now there's a whole story about him. He sent him one time to the Koisim with the Gilu Shechina that he saw there. But kids, Avram Alevi every single day by Yerushalayim, by Tishkon Yerushalayim, by Shmoneh Esrei used to say Nachem. What we say on Tisha B'Av? You say Nachem Tisha B'Av? Yeah. So he said it every single day by there. So what happened was, in this Lag Baimer, when he went with the Arizal to Miron, on Lag Baimer, he dived into Mincha and he said the regular Nachem like he says every day. And after Achar Shegama Ha'amida, Arizal told him that he saw Behakitz, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai Olav Shalom, Oimed Al Kivroi. For Omar, this is Magen Avraham brings this down. The Arizal said, "For Omar, Amor El Haish Hazeh Avram Alevi, Ki Lama Omar Nachem B'Yom Simchaseinu." Why is he saying Nachem B'Yom Simchaseinu? V'lachen Hu Yeh Benachama Bekarov. ולא יצא חודש ימים עד שמס לו בן אחד וקיבל עליו תנחומים, וכל זה כסבתי לו ארץ כי השורש במנהג הזה, בפרט כבשמעון, בפרט, says בחיים ויטל, כי בשמעון בן יוחאי הוא מחמישה התלמידים הגדולים של אבא עקיבא, ולכן זמן שמחוסו ביום לעומר עד כמה שעות. That's what he says. Now they understood from here Yom Simchaseinu means some kind of you see over here that it's Yom HaPtira. I don't see anything about Yom HaPtira. Yom Simchaseinu means, like he says at the end, Yom Simchaseinu means that because he was Nismach on this day and he was from the Chamisha Talmidim. There's no right from here that it was Simchaseinu, Simcha. Yeah. Simchaseinu, because Smicha. It's mashma. It's mashma at the end like that. Okay, Bakabon, we have three reasons why do we have the Yemei, why is the Lag Baimer, why is there more say Lag Baimer is Yom Simcha? We have the Goyen says Pasuk Milamos, we have the Arizal and Pri Chadash are saying that it's a Smicha Satalmidim, and we have another reason of Hilul de Rashbi. Now, in Halacha Lemaise, there is something that everybody is navach on this, is mamash stiras in the way we are noyeg and Lag Baimer sign, the Ashkenazim sign this Friday. Everybody has a bunch of stiras in the minhag. And the problem is like this, that in the Sfardim, the big problem, I'm talking about every year, I'm talking about this year, that if we're saying, we're going to go through these reasons, yeah? So if you hold that, what Shulchan Aruch says, Pasuk Milamos when happened on Lamed Dalet. So yeah, Lamed Gimel was the regular day, Lamed Dalet is Pasuk Milamos. So now, if you go like that, so it comes out, we'll go through all the reasons. The Regan says Pasuk Milamos. The second reason is that Samach Talmidim, when everybody stopped dying, he was Samach Talmidim. Okay, let's take the first two reasons. First two reasons, the Yom Simcha should be on Lamed Dalet, not on Lamed Gimel. Good, because Lamed Dalet Pasuk Milamos.
That's the arguing on the date, Lamaisa, when it happened.
Yeah, the arguing when it happened. So if you're going with the reason, so Lamed Dalet is supposed to be the Yom Simcha. So Minhag Friday is not like that. And Lamed Dalet is a regular day. The only thing you do is the Avelu stopped and you shave and that's it. But there's no Yom Simcha on Lamed Dalet. You say your regular Tachma. Yeah, okay. And in Lamed Gimel, it's still Minhag Avelus. But we don't say Tachna on Lamed Gimel. And we are knowing it's Yom Simcha. It's no Tainis or Minhag Simcha. And music also. Okay, music is like a later minhag. I didn't find an earlier source on what's halachas music, but the minhag ha'olam is yes to listen to music on Lamed Gimel already, la'omer, and not to wait to Lamed Dalet. So that's in the Sfardim.
This Hanhag of Sfardim. Maybe this is only in Haitika when it's mixed together.
No, this is all the Halakas. This is the stira. I found the Pri Chadash asks Kasha. Chadash asks Kasha, and you know what he says? He says, Tema, דעכשיו נהגו בזה להרבס בשמחה, שלא לאמור תחנון, על יום ל"ג. הסהר שולחן ערוך says ל"ד, ואף על פי כן אין מסתבר ל"ד. זעירא כסתרתי דססי. ל"ד, yes, that's a kasha. So you know what he says? לפיכך מי שנהג עצמו להסתפק בל"ג, אין מויכן ביד. בחדש בספרד, Rabban Hebron, he says, you know, you could do everything on ל"ג, because this makes sense to make the ל"ד. We know שמחה on ל"ג, so he said you could do everything on regular year ל"ג. Okay, that's what the minhag is not like that. Now, this is the problem in minhag Sfarad. Minhag Ashkenazim also has the same problem, and that is because different shitas. But Ramaz Mishmur goes the halacha that Lamed Gimel, that's the minhag Elam. The Lamed Gimel Bayoim is the time that you're allowed to shave because it makes the Kechulo, not the night before. Okay, and Mitzad Sheni the night before, already people are listening to music. So what's going on over here? If you hold the available stop to start of the night. If not, you should go by day. We don't have a source in Allah to have lakas, meduras and things. Okay, so that's the. What's the source for that? That's the shayla. What's the source for that? So like this, what we wanted to suggest. And I found in the Minhag Ashkenaz also, Chokankev also has the kashi. He has a kashi. He also has kashi. He says he's talking about Gabe Tachnon. Okay, I don't have time to go into it. We can talk about Tachnon and Erev Yom Tov Lamed Beis. Ashkenazi also don't say Tachnon and Lamed Beis tomorrow by Mincha. And the question is why? If the Yom Simcha is only Lamed Gimel by day, so you should not. You should say Tachnon. That's what he says. If you don't shave by night and lag by night. So Chokankev says you should say Tachnon and Mincha on Erev Yom Tov. Okay, so what I want to suggest is like this. I don't know if the Elam is going to go for this malach. Oh yeah, so some say that all the Minhag Avelos really starts by really we stop it by Lamed Gimel, and the only thing we listen to is for Kavod Rashbi, as you're saying, Kavod Rashbi by the Meduras. We see. So the shaila is which source are you going? What's the Kavod Rashbi you're showing to music? So maybe you should shave also the Kavod Rashbi. And then in Islam is tabel. So call Kavod Rashbi, you go, and then when you leave, you close your ears. You stop here listening to music.
It should be on Lag BaOmer itself. Should be the whole.
Yeah, right. That's right. Oh, so like this. What I want to say is suggest like this that. The whole inyan availus on Sphera is only a minhag, right? It's not. We said before we started. It's a minhag goinim. It's not really. So it's what you have to say like this: Yom Lag BaOmer is a Yom Simcha. There's a Yom Simcha. Why is it Yom Simcha? Because the reasons we had is Samcha. Let's go with the Ramah 1 second, or we go with the Hilul of the Rash. But Yom Lamed Gimel is a Yom Simcha. So now. And a Yom Simcha, because it's a Yom Simcha, we wanted to be noig K'tzas Simcha. Mitzad Sheni, it's still Avelus because they were still dying on the Yom Lamed Gimel and Pasku on that day. So they made like Mitzad Yom Simcha. That's why we don't say Tachnon to cover the Yom Simcha. Also listening to music, you can say it's a Kach Kiblolim since Yom Shirim HaMecholos, since Yom Lamed Gimel is a Yom Simcha, so we want to show the Simcha of the Shirim HaMecholos. However, the Avelus. That the Kabbalah's minhag, the minhag was Avelus. We're going to go with the regular minhag Avelus Pasku Milamus, which is on the Miksatzayim Kechulo, only Dafka by the day, and minhag Sfardim also you have to say something like that. That really the Lamed Gimel is a Yom Simcha. Why is Lamed Gimel Yom Simcha? I guess the minhag was more like the Arizal said, not more than the Shulchan Aruch said. They held that there is some kind of a smichas talmid, some kind of the Rashbi. So since it was a Yom Simcha, so we machshiv the Yom Holiday no Tachnon and Miksa Simcha with the Shirim HaMecholos. But the other minhag Avelus, you're going to go with whenever the talmidim stop dying, which is on the Yom Dafka. So according to the minhag Ramah is Yom Lag BaOmer, according to the minhag Shulchan Aruch would be Lamed Dalet. All I'm saying is Chomer Akushya, you have to say the minhag was set up like that certain things are makabel, certain things are not makabel. And since it's a Yom Simcha, so we wanted to be machshivet alidei not Tachnon Shirim HaMecholos, but still the Avelus goes till Lamed Gimel Fidei Ramah, Lamed Dalet according to Shulchan Aruch. Fine. Okay.